going on, guys? So today is the first day of the year that I've been able to use this windshield cover. It's called a frost guard, and basically what I guess it's supposed to do is keep the frost off your windshield so you don't have to scrape it. It still gets covered in snow and all that, but I put it on last night before the snow started, and it's been covered in snow all night and everything like that. So we're gonna take it off and see if it actually worked. The only reason it might not have worked, the only thing I'm concerned about a little bit, is the fact that it might have been too warm on the windshield, so it might have gotten a little condensation in there and then actually frosted itself to the windshield and then totally defeated its purpose, but we're gonna find out. So let's go right in here. Look at that. That's actually super nice. It's a super nice, handy feature to have something like that, because now all I gotta do is brush it off. It's got these little stretchy things you can see here, but now all I gotta do is brush it off and open it up, and there's the windshield. Alright, so that's there. We're gonna let that melt a little bit, I guess, but yeah, as you can see, look at that. I mean, the windshield's gonna have snow on it now, but the wipers, clean, not stuck. I mean, as you can see, there's definitely ice. There's definitely ice all over the headlights and everything, but the wipers are fine. The windshield's clean. So let's go ahead and start it on up here. Go out, drive around a little bit. So what I think I'll talk to you guys about today is a little bit about what you might want to have in your car in the winter. So stuff you might want to have for when it snows, when it's really cold. Oh yeah, things like that. So obviously you're going to want to have some snacks. A bag of pretzels. That's empty, I already ate that. It was already cold. You're going to want to have your goggles, just in case you got to hang your head out the window because it fogs up too much. You know, little Ace Ventura action there. As we're sitting here, letting the car warm up for a few minutes, I will talk about a couple things before the video actually starts. So I went and got gas yesterday. That was an ordeal and a half. Had to fill up, and it took about half an hour. Tires are properly inflated. If you have a hill, you know, if your driveway is a hill like that, you know, maybe back down. I made a list. You guys are gonna love this. Ready? Boom. I made a list of 10 things that I think you should have in your car during the winter. And we are off. So pretty easy to get on the driveway, you know, a little bit of slippage there right at the top, but that's kind of to be expected. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get to it. The 10 things that I think you ought to have in your car in the winter, just to be on the safe side, because you never know, you might have to save a damsel in distress, or you might be a damsel in distress and need to have some of those things to keep yourself from biting the dust. So we're gonna go ahead and drive around a little bit here. A little snowy driving around vlog, I guess. We'll call it the commuter conversation, day one. Woo! A little bit slippery there. Okay, so let's see, what do we got here? Number 10, jumper cables. You know, during the cold, your battery isn't gonna wanna crank over sometimes if it's super cold, and it has been for a while and it's been sitting for a while. So it's always good to have jumper cables, just in case you need a jump, or you know, you need to give a jump, or you know, see a jump, give a jump, right? Number 9, a blanket or extra winter clothes. This one's really important for a lot of reasons. For one, if it's really snowy and everything, and you get really wet and damp just by, you know, walking around, just going to your car, you slip and fall into maybe a puddle or in the snow and you're gonna be wet and stuff like that, you're gonna wanna change into drier clothes, because drier clothes are warmer than wet clothes when it's cold outside, obviously. So winter clothes and a blanket, or a blanket, either one. You know, if you're stuck, you know, and somebody can't get to you for a couple hours or so, you don't wanna just sit there and leave your car running, or if you run out of gas, something, you're not gonna be able to stay warm. So with extra clothes or winter clothes and stuff like that, you're gonna be able to stay warmer anyway while you wait for somebody to come to your assistance. Number 8, a flashlight. Flashlight's important. You gotta be able to see what you're doing in the dark. If your battery's dead, you're not gonna have any power in your car. So obviously, you know, you're gonna need a flashlight or something of that nature. I've got, let's see, I've got a flashlight right there. That's a little tiny flashlight. But I've got 2 flashlights right there, 2 headlamps. I've got a flashlight in there. So I've got 4 flashlights right at my arm's length from my driver's seat alone. Then I've got a couple more in the back, you know. Got one on my phone. Can't have too many flashlights. The next thing would be, what is that, number 7, I guess? Number 7, a compact shovel. So a small little shovel or something like that in case you need to dig a little bit, dig yourself out. Maybe you need to dig an igloo because that's your thing, you know, who knows? It's 2018, we don't judge. Maybe you need to dig an igloo, stay warm, because, you know, maybe your car's not warm enough. Who knows? It's always good to have a shovel, though, for whatever you need to do it for. 6, rock salt and or cat litter. So what this is gonna do is if it's more icy than snowy, you're gonna be slipping, maybe. And what that's gonna allow you to do is throw that down in front of the wheels and get some traction. And you know, a lot of people always say, oh, you know, just use your floor mats in your car. And that's great, and it doesn't work. You know, you guys might have seen some videos or might have tried it yourself where using a floor mat doesn't work because as soon as the wheel grabs it, it just spins it right out and slips it right out from under the car, and then you're back to square one again. So the rock salt and cat litter, the rock salt's probably a little bit better because it's gonna have that chemical in it that's gonna help melt the ice. It's obviously gonna be more expensive and harder to find as well. So cat litter you can find anywhere. You can buy the cheapest stuff. You know, if you have a cat, you probably already have some in your house, so there you go. But that's gonna do the same thing as the rock salt minus the fact that it's gonna melt all the ice and stuff like that. So you'll be good to go there. Give a little bit more traction, stuff like that. 5, an extra battery for your phone. So like an extra little battery charger thing, you know, there's portable chargers and stuff like that. You're gonna wanna have an extra one of those for your phone in case your phone dies. And you know, it's good to have a car charger as well, but if your car's dead, your phone's gonna stay dead. So it's good to have an extra one of those if you're planning on being out for a long time and you know your phone might die, or you know your phone's got a bad battery, X, Y, Z, you know, whatever. So it's always good to have one of those as well, just, you know, just in case. Everything in this list is just in case, but you'd rather have it than you wouldn't. So number 4 is one of those kind of like really extreme case kind of things. Dried food and snacks and stuff like that. If you've got some dried foods and some snacks, you're gonna have something to eat if you're waiting for a long time for somebody to come to your aid. You know, in the cold weather, you're burning a lot more calories just to stay warm. Your body's working a lot harder to stay warm. And so if you've got those dried food, dried fruits, kind of snacks and stuff to keep the calories up a little bit, you're gonna be better off and you're gonna be more content than if you did. Number 3 is something you should have in your car all year, but especially during the winter, is a first aid kit, because you never know when you know, you're gonna rub up against something. You know, you never know, and it's always good to have a first aid kit in your car. And another thing that's important with a first aid kit is you need to go through it regularly. And I don't mean regularly as in every couple days, be like, oh, these Band-Aids have gone bad, throw them out. Not that. You know, you've got to go through it maybe twice a year, every 6 months, and just kind of throw this stuff out. You know, alcohol wipes may have dried up. They may not be good anymore. Some of the other antibacterial stuff might not be good. It might have expired. So just go through it routinely, not often, but routinely. And this guy's taking his half out of the middle. Go through it routinely and just check it. Just make sure everything is up to par, you know, because the last thing you want is to be in need of a first aid kit and then have one that doesn't have the stuff you need in it. So you don't want to be like, oh yeah, don't worry, I've got a first aid kit and all my Band-Aids are gone. So that kind of thing. You don't want to run into that situation. So first aid kit is definitely year-round, but it's definitely also important to have in the winter. Number 2, a pencil and paper. You never know when you need to write something down. You know, somebody might run into the back of you and be like, oh no, that wasn't me. But you wrote down their license plate, so you're good to go. Another thing is, you can have a pen. Pens are fine too. I always like to have a pencil, just because when it's really cold, a pen might not write. You know, the ink might freeze and kind of get hard, and then it's not gonna write, and you're gonna be up a certain creek without a paddle. So I always like to have a pencil and a pen because I like writing in pen better. So when it's not cold, I use a pen. When it is cold, I use a pencil because a pencil always writes. That's why they take pencils to space, because a pencil will still write. But yeah, so pen and paper, you never know what you want to write down. You know, if you need to get towed, you might want to write down the towing truck information or your insurance information or anything like that. You might want to have something to write with and something to write on. So always good to have that. I've got mine right in here, as you can see, along with my other sunglasses, because you can't have enough sunglasses. And number one, the final thing, a simple toolkit. You know, you don't want to be somewhere and get stuck and not be able to fix something if it's easy. You know, if one of your battery terminals has come loose and that's the reason your car's not starting, you want to be able to have a 10 millimeter or whatever it is, probably not the 10 because you lost that, but anything else, you know, a little bit of wrench action, anything like that, you want to have something to put that battery terminal back on, so you don't have to pay a towing company like $100 to come out and put your battery terminal back on for you. So little stuff like that, simple toolkit. I'm not talking about you need to have your impact driver to do a tire rotation on the interstate because it's cold, but you know, simple things like that. Something comes loose, you need to put it back on, boom, 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 done, good to go. Aside from that, a couple other things just want to mention. Remember that four-wheel drive doesn't mean four-wheel stop. It's better to get there late than to not get there at all, you know? So drive safely when you're out there. So I hope you guys enjoyed that little top 10 things you ought to have in your car for the winter talk. If you did, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Drop a comment if you think there's something I missed. If you think there's something that I shouldn't be on there because it's just unnecessary. You don't need to have that in your car all the time. Other than that, thanks so much. Make sure to subscribe. You take it easy.